Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. Today we have 3 stories coming your way, all of which took place in 2021. Some of these are short, but I have one lengthy encounter which I'll save for last. Alright, so as you know, I'm always looking for great stories to be shared on this channel. So if you have a story that you would like to share in a safe environment, then forward your encounter stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. Who has their drink in hand right now? Well, if you don't have your drink, then I suggest you go grab yourself a beverage and get cozy on the couch or chair and sit back and relax. All right, let's kick these off. The first story takes place on June 13th, 2021, Hardin County, Illinois, and the nearest town is Elizabethtown. Well, we had a possible sighting today in the Swanee National Forest. Not by me, sadly, but my wife. And believe it or not, she's not even a believer. Anyway, we were driving around from campground to campground trying to find a spot to set up. I drove to a campground called Camp Candace. All campsites were occupied there, so we drove down to this old road. It became too muddy to go any further, so we decided to turn around. And as I was dodging big potholes filled with water, we came around this bend. And she catches out of the corner of her eye and she screams, "Babe, don't hit that." And I'm like, "What?" Of course, I see nothing there, but she says there was something coming out of the wood line trying to cross the road, but ran back in. She says it was black, brownish, upright, and extremely large and tall. She says she still doesn't believe Bigfoot exists, but she knows she's seen something she can't explain. All right, this second one takes place on July the 26th of 2021, and it takes place in Dickinson County, Virginia, and the nearest town is Clintwood. At around 11 p.m. on July 26, my wife and I were night fishing on the backwaters of Crane's Nest River in Dickinson County, Virginia. My wife's head was hurting, so she decided to take a nap. We had heard something large walking in the woods, but wrote it off as a bear or a deer, as both are plentiful in our area. She had been sleeping for about an hour when I heard a large knock about 50 yards up in the tree line. Then about 15 to 20 seconds later, several hundred yards up the ridge, there was another knock. Both sounded as if someone had taken a 4x4 post and struck a tree with it. Then about 10 minutes later, there was a splash sound in the water about 20 feet away from our boat. The splash sounded like something weighed 20 or 30 pounds had struck the water, waking my wife. It's not unusual to hear large fish jumping at night, but this was different. After the splash, no more than a couple of minutes had passed, and there was 2 more knocks, and they were closer than the first one. We pulled anchor, reeled in our lines, and as we were leaving, we heard 2 more knocks. My wife said she heard the knocks up on the ridge, but I didn't hear those. Just the sound of a large animal walking up the river same way we were traveling, as if it was following us. When it came to a shallow cove where it would have had to swim, we stopped hearing the walking sounds. This is the second time we've encountered this animal. We've had an experience about a month and a half earlier. We heard a big animal walking around and had big splashes in the water as if it were throwing things at us on that night as well. All right, guys, this is the last story of the day, and this one takes place on June the 9th, 2021, and it takes place in Ashland County, Ohio. The nearest town is Ashland and Hayesville. This incident occurred on June the 9th, 2021 at approximately 5:15 p.m. It started raining at around 3:30 and ended around 5 p.m. I had to get the grass mowed because it was already too long. Usually when I mow, I have my cell phone in my shirt pocket, but since it rained, I didn't want to take the chance of getting it wet, so I left it in the house. I was mowing in the direction of north to south. There are several large farm fields behind my house. In between these properties are 3 large depressions in the landscape where a large vehicle could park in there and no one would see it. Though these particular spots are cart paths that run along the bottom, also running from north to south. As I was mowing, a dark figure appeared down by the corner of one of these fields, approximately 150 to 200 yards out. I stopped and looked, and I was wondering if it was a neighbor checking his trail cam that points to the north. I took my mower over to a wood pile, which is approximately 35 yards closer, to get a better view. The field was just planted with soybeans, so I couldn't go in the field with the mower. At that point, the dark figure was just east of the trail cam, and I was hoping it would cross the path of the trail cam, but it seemed to avoid that area. This dark figure was following the deer trail that are 40 yards east of the trail cam. I asked myself, what am I looking at? Knowing it had just rained, who would be back there? I idled the mower down and noticed the toadstools around the woodpile and thought maybe it was a mushroom hunter, but this person was black from head to toe and mushroom season is basically over by now. This large figure started to move across the second field heading northeast along where the deer usually go, down into a large depression in the field. As it was moving across the field, I knew there was no way I would have enough time to get my cell phone or binoculars in time to view it. I sat there and observed it following the deer trail, knowing it was not a black deer walking on 2 legs. The whole time I was thinking, no one is going to believe me. It seemed to cross the field without any trouble and clear the field within a matter of a minute and a half. As it disappeared into this chest-high weeds, I sat there for approximately 5 minutes waiting to see if it would appear on the other side, or head towards the large section of the woods which have several trail cams along the perimeter of the woods. I also scanned the tree line for any vehicles that might be there from someone out walking, but there weren't any. I could not figure out what I had just seen. I finished mowing and didn't even tell my wife about it until a few days later. On my first opportunity on June the 12th, we took our golf cart back into the area to see if we could find any prints or tracks. To our disappointment, the field had been no-tilled roundup, where the field was filled with weeds, grass, and corn stalks, where it made it very hard to find footprints. We also followed the path that it took up to the large part of the depression in the field, where you can see game trail going in and out of chest-high weeds. We also took the cart down into the lower part of the depression via the mowed path that are back there. On June 13th, we conducted a reenactment with our 15-year-old son. He's about 5'11" and 235 pounds. We had him dress in a black Adidas sweatsuit that had white letters and stripes on it. My wife took him on the golf cart to the area where I saw the black figure. I sat back at the wood pile on my mower to watch for him. Through cell phone conversation with my son, I had him put up his hoodie and walk the same path. 3/4 of the way through the field, all in black. My first observation was that what I saw on June the 9th was much bigger and moved through the field easier than my son did. He was trying not to walk on the newly planted soybeans and trying to miss the old corn stalks in the field. Because of this, it took my son longer to cross the field. He was close enough that I could actually see the white part of my son's sweatsuit with no problem. Because of that, I know that what I saw was all black. Note in May, we saw less deer in the area, possibly due to farmer tilling the field. And for the month of June, we have taken cart rides and have seen less deer in the area. I haven't told too many people for fear of being made fun of. My wife didn't really believe me until we did the reenactment. She even says that there is no way you could miss something all black from head to toe back there. I just can't seem to shake it from my mind. There you have it, guys. 3 fantastic stories. 1 camping excursion, 1 fishing excursion, and the other one is just some lucky dude sitting on his mower cutting his lawn. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed these stories today. And I'm sorry, like I stated before, I know these are a little bit short, but they're going to be like this for a little bit until things settle down around here. So if these stories reminded you of an encounter you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your stories on this channel. Lastly, thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit that like button on your way out and smash that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. And folks, I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday, and we'll see you all next week.